You have three great enemies. These are mental traits that can be conquered. First, putting off decisions and action until a later period, never deciding anything when a decision is demanded. You face a great crisis in your life. You know you ought to make yourself mentally proficient along a certain branch of study. You are filled with enthusiasm until you take up the books. Then you say, "I'll start this tomorrow." The moment you say that, you are defeated. Usually, one might just as well throw his books into the fire, because tomorrow he will repeat himself. The secret of winning is action. The greatest victories in life belong to those who act, who take the step even when the outcome is uncertain, who understand that indecision is a form of slow self-destruction. Every time you postpone action, you build a habit of delay, a habit of doubt, a habit of fear. And these habits form chains that quietly tighten around your potential. You look back after months or years and see all the dreams still sitting at the starting line, while others who dared to act are now running their races, some already past the finish line. It is not because they were smarter, luckier, or more privileged. It is because they moved. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. The smallest action is greater than the grandest intention. A dream written down is still a fantasy unless you wake up and work it. The people who shape history are not those who waited for perfect clarity or optimal conditions. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. The smallest action is greater than the grandest intention. A dream written down is still a fantasy unless you wake up and work it. The people who shape history are not those who waited for perfect clarity or optimal conditions. They are the ones who stood in the storm, made decisions, acted despite fear, and learned it on the go. They realized that the mind prefers safety and comfort, but growth lives in discomfort and risk. The only way to develop mental strength is to train it, and training begins the moment you stop postponing. So, if you want to conquer the first enemy, you must start. Not tomorrow, not next week, now today, this minute. Because each minute of delay chips away at your confidence. Each postponed decision makes the mind weaker. Decide and act, and you begin to build an inner strength that becomes your greatest asset. Your ability to take quick, clear action is a superpower in a world full of hesitation. The second enemy is mental laziness. This is widespread. It is the line of least resistance and can be cured only by the sternest methods. The you that is in you is the real master of your mental processes. The you that is in you is the you the world is seeking. You must so honor that you give it its place of authority, of dominion over your faculties. Now drive your mind to work. You absolutely refuse to give it any rest until it has accomplished the desired amount of work. You must be absolute master of yourself, of your faculties. For your mind will always be lazy until interest has been created. Then it flows on smoothly, but interest is not always natural. Often, it is born out of discipline. You cannot wait until you feel like working. If you wait for motivation, you'll stay stuck. If you build discipline, you will be free. Mental laziness is like a fog that creeps in silently. It convinces you that scrolling through your phone is harmless, that watching one more episode won't hurt, that it's okay to relax a bit more, to delay just a little longer. But over time, this fog thickens. It dulls your senses, clouds your judgment, and numbs your drive. Soon, the goals that once excited you feel too far, too hard, too out of reach. Not because they are, but because you no longer have the mental energy to reach for them. Your real self, the powerful you, must rise. It must shout down every excuse. It must shake off the lethargy and push your mind to work, to focus, to create. Whether it is studying a difficult subject, writing that proposal, building your craft, or learning a new skill, your success depends on your ability to push past laziness and deliver. Mastering your mind is not about being hard on yourself, but being faithful to your purpose. It is about saying, I may not feel like it now, but I will do it anyway. And when you do it once, and then again and again, something shifts inside you. The fog clears, clarity comes, energy follows, progress returns. And soon, the discipline that felt like chains becomes the engine that propels you forward. It is not talent that separates the successful from the struggling. It is not IQ, background, or opportunity. It is this, the ability to work even when it's hard, boring, or uninspiring. To push yourself past comfort into contribution. To use the you inside you as a general that commands your mental army with courage and consistency. The third enemy is wrong talking, negative talking. I knew a man who started out in business with every promise of success. He had the right location. He had the right kind of business. He had a multitude of friends. He was a good beer and a good salesman. I went into his store on my way to the post office nearly every morning. I used to admire his store. It was so clean. The details were so carefully managed. A change came over him. He had a little domestic difficulty. He began to talk discouragingly. In 2 years, that man talked himself out of a splendid, growing business. I did not know then what I know now, or I could have stopped him. He simply talked himself out. He discouraged people who came in. He was full of pessimism and doubt. He challenged everything. Finally, he talked himself into absolute failure. You cannot afford to talk failure, doubt, or fear. Why? Because words register in your heart, and after they have registered, they take control of your life. What you say shapes what you believe. What you believe becomes how you behave. And how you behave determines what you receive. So every word of doubt, every sentence of self-sabotage, every whisper of negativity builds walls around your mind and limits your future. Speech is not harmless. Words are seeds. They grow into habits, mindsets, and realities. A person who constantly talks about how hard life is will live a hard life. A person who always mentions how unlucky they are will feel cursed. A person who rehearses failure out loud will experience it in reality. Why? Because you are programming your subconscious mind with every word you utter. The man who lost his business did not lose it because of the economy, or his product, or even his family troubles. He lost it because he lost the battle of the tongue. And when the tongue becomes a tool of complaint, fear, or blame, it weakens the spirit. But you can change your world by changing your words. Speak faith, speak hope, speak determination. Even when you are scared, say, I will find a way. Even when you're tired, say, I am strong. Even when it seems impossible, say, with effort and grace, I will do it. Train your mouth to align with your goals, not your fears. Let your words be fuel, not fire. Let them be ladders, not limits. This is not about ignoring reality. It is about shaping it. Your mind is a garden, and your words are the water. You must water your garden with truth, with hope, with strength. The three enemies: delay, laziness, and negative talking are not invincible. They thrive in silence and avoidance. But the moment you face them, name them, and fight them, they shrink. They are not monsters. They are habits, and habits can be changed. You change them by action, by discipline, and by speech. You rise each morning and say, today I act. Today I work. Today I speak life. And each day that you do, you reclaim a piece of your power. You rise higher in your thinking, your performance, your belief. You become sharper, stronger, steadier. You are no longer a victim of internal enemies, but a master of your own mind. And when you master your mind, you master your future. Your life bends in the direction of your dominant thoughts and daily actions. It doesn't matter how long you've delayed. It doesn't matter how many times you've been lazy. It doesn't matter how many times you've spoken defeat. What matters is what you decide now, right now, this very moment. Because this is where your power is, in the now. Not in the regret of the past or the anxiety of the future. Your enemies are not out there. They are within, but the solution is also within. The you that is in you is powerful, determined, intelligent, and destined for greatness. Give that you the microphone. Let it speak, let it act, let it lead. And you will begin to see a transformation not just in your work, but in your entire life.